All right, guys, it is August 30th. Y'all know who I am. I'm giving Jackie's voice a break on the instructor training. And I want us to go and everybody should be able to unmute. And let's say our vision here that I've got up on the screen. 1, 2, 3.
To become the best triple R 247 team in the world.
All right, we're gonna get a cadence down here on this. We're definitely going
again.
Try it again. We're good.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Shane and Jackie and Greg and I are all on what's called GOYA. GOYA stands for get off your ass. Yeah. I'm not going to apologize for saying the word because this is why y'all are here, to get off your ass and get your time freedom and financial freedom, right? Yeah. So last night on our MSI, PSI, GSI call, Greg and Jackie and Shane know about this already because they were on it. We've got these events coming up. Well, what happens is we also have this inbound support line called GOYA. And with all of us going to Napa and several of us, a bunch of us go, I should say several of us going to Napa and a bunch of us going to Dallas, phone lines are not getting covered. We're also having some issues like on the weekends. And that's sometimes the best time where you guys have more availability in the week than during the day, right? Or in the evenings, maybe you got but more time. So Linda put out literally a cry for help last night. And Jackie and I are currently 2 of the admins on. There's very few of us admins, but the only way we're going to be able to grow more admins is to get more people coming up into GOYA and getting to the MSI. It's pretty strict on the admin part that you do need to be an MSI just because of the access that we're getting to everything. The requirements that Rory stated last night were that they need to be someone who knows the flow, and they need to be someone who is actively signing their own PBSs. So setters, we love you, but right now you're not ready for GOYA. We need someone who understands and has a strong posture, because you're going to get some calls coming in that are not going to be the easiest to handle. Rick, you got your first exposure today with that SD lead. Rick has an SD lead that signed up back on the 26th. She's in his column. Problem is, 2 days ago, she came in again, and now she's got that setup specialist that we're all kind of nervous about talking about. And that's why, when you're on the 101 boards, they're beyond their 60-day money back guarantee. And on the SD boards, they didn't pay a dime anyhow. So there is no specialist typically. Well, when they come back in and they pay, they're going to get sent to one of our specialist floors. Now, in the past, some of you have already talked to the specialist and you're like, oh my gosh, they're demon spawn, and they're just very negative men and women. Rory laid down the law, and the pressure, the mindset, I think, is changing for the specialists. And I'm going to say yes because of 2 calls that I got to do today, and one turned into a PBS. They actually fired 3 of the specialists for their attitude and their condescending, disregard for the human race, basically. I mean, they were just mean, and they made people feel really bad about themselves. And then 4 more got fired right after that. They set the example, they've set the tone. But I've already seen, and I haven't even been on GOYA yet this week, as far as answering the phone, But I've got one guy named Ben. I just gave huge kudos. I sent a text to Rory because this specialist, Ben, was so nice to my student that I signed up into PBS. He sent her back to us in a very great, so things are the tide is turning. Shane, I am so excited. Greg, we've all gotten those, they wanted all this private information and this just not right. And some of you have been on that receiving line. So GOYA, it's great to be able to answer the phone. Good morning. Thank you for calling GOYA. My name is Stacy. How can I help you? And then there's that pregnant pause and they come unglued. You know, they want their money back and all. You have to be ready for it. So I wanted to share with you guys some of, and I want Shane and Jackie and Greg to help me with this. It's not just me, because the four of us are on the GOYA lines. And we want.
Stacey, I apologize. I have my instructor in training trying to get in, and I don't have it at my fingertips. What's Jackie's Zoom ID number? I'll write it down.
You ready?
Yes.
It's 370-177-0819.
So much. I'll let her know. It's Kathleen Harris. She's gonna
You know
start
what?
joining.
Chris is looking for it too. Hang on. I was just invite, copy. We got, there we go. I put it in the chat. Okay. And Sandy's already been GOYA trained. I think Chris has already been GOYA trained, right, Shane? Or he was close to it. Okay. I just gave the link out. Those three are all trying to get in. Monique is actually in the midst of a BRT. Yay. That's a great reason to not be here. It really is. But Jackie and Shane and I have really been communicating a lot that we really want you guys to grow. We believe in all of you guys. We know you can do it. And it's just time to set fire and build a nice big bonfire, you know? So I already talked to Linda a little bit on this. I told her, I said I was going to be doing the training to all of you instructors, giving you a better idea of what it is like to be on the GOYA, the requirements to maintain it, because you are being given a phone line through your computer, and that costs Rory money. You don't have to pay for it. And we do ask that if you're on GOYA, you commit to a minimum of 10 hours a week. You can do it all in one day if you want, or over 2 days, or a couple hours each day, you know, over several days. There's a schedule that we fill in. And you know, what we're going to do is we're going to warm you guys into it, where we want to go over this training and just kind of give you guys an idea on it. And those of you that are interested in going the next step to maybe be on a GOYA shift with me or with Jackie or with Shane. I was on a Zoom with Chrissy and Shane one Thursday morning, and I ended up grabbing a GOYA line call. I ended up calling in for Shane, but Chrissy and Shane could hear both sides of the conversation. And learning and hearing it firsthand, I think, is a great way to learn the GOYA. Would you guys agree to that? Greg and Shane and Jackie? To just, okay. So we've got etiquettes with it. You have to maintain composure. There are many times where, you know, people don't know what they don't know. That's the first thing to remember. They don't know what they just signed up for. They know they want something. They just don't know what we have. And we have certain protocols of what we can and can't say during the conversation. Many times people are calling in and they want to know I'm supposed to call in for my next step. I just logged in and it says to call the advanced team. Oh, I can help you with that. Let me get your name. Can I get your phone number? It's going to be on caller ID, by the way, on your computer screen, but it's always good to ask in case they're calling from a work phone and didn't, they might have used a different phone number, like their cell phone to register with. You want to get their email and an order number. Right now, the order numbers are all 7 digits long. If they come out with a transaction number and it's 13 characters long and it's got letters and numbers in it, it's not us. Guaranteed, it's not us. But you don't tell them that. Okay. You get as much information down, and that's where the notebooks come in handy for me, is writing it all down, because you may not be able to find them right away in Trello. They may have just signed up 10 minutes ago. We see it all day long. Just signed up 10 minutes ago. I can't find the card. That's when you put on the GOYA chat on Skype. You need someone in admin like Jackie or I to look up the information for you in the master. It's called the CRM. Okay. And we need to, with GOYA, we need to be able to guide them through the steps. We are not selling them a PBS. Our number one job of being there is providing support, keeping them moving along the system. We actually want them to try and go and be with the setup specialists, because then they get into what's called the VIP packages. And that's where they've paid more money. And that helps fund everything we do. Okay, so this is business. This isn't, Rory's running a business. His partners are part of that business. And keeping everything kosher and cozy and comfy is priority. Boy, I really wish this checklist and guide was a little bit more organized. I know Linda's working on it. The GOYA chat out on Skype is not a chat hour. It's literally, you give the caller name, their phone number, their email, order ID if they have it. If they don't, it's not necessarily a big deal, because we have various ways to looking them up on the system. If you find that you always want to look on Trello first, and this is why we wanted you guys, we start you guys with the 101s and the SDs. Actually, we start you with B marketing. It's your intro to start learning Trello. Gail got to add a new list today and moved it in her Trello board. It was kind of exciting. But she did it. All she did, great, added to Grapevine. So she can move some of her cards to be more organized. When you're doing lookups in Trello, look for last name first. Just type in their last name and use all lowercase, because if somebody happened to enter it in all uppercase and you do just the first letter uppercase and the rest lowercase, it won't find it. It's a quirk in Trello. We're kind of figuring some things out with it. Again, Jackie, Shane, interrupt me if I'm going off base here.
No, I think you're just following it. It's just like everything else that we have. It's all scripted out. But it is a protocol that has to be followed. And we just, it's while it's intimidating, you will get some good leads off of it. But we are customer service reps. I mean, that's basically what we're doing, is we are working customer services. Stacy's just going through the different protocols or steps that it takes when working GOYA. But yeah, I mean, you're doing great, Stacy.
Okay. One of the things when they come in, and let's say they don't have a specialist, they just signed up, they've not even been here even 2 hours, much less 24 hours. We have something called a 24-hour wait. That's because you know how I pull leads every Thursday morning and every Saturday morning, they're from the prior day. We can't see those leads. SD leads are not seen by any of us in admin until the day has changed. So like anybody signing up today that's an SD lead, if we can't find them in our CRM, it doesn't mean that they didn't actually sign up with us. It actually means they're probably coming in as an SD lead and we don't have access to their information yet. So we never want to take someone right to PBS when you're on the GOYA line, because if it's not been 24 hours, you might step on some toes with the specialist and we can't interfere. We need to remain support at that point. But if, let's say, well, like this morning, I know there were several, let me just go look here. Okay. Tanya Hobbs Peterson, she has an old card from 2018, but she's got a new order ID. Means she signed back up. We get a lot of those. Okay, great. Ask for the new information from the admin. And that's what Kathleen said. She goes, looking, lead ID, here's the information. Actually, I'm just gonna share my screen again and show you because there's nothing on GOYA you guys can't see. And, you know, so here, Francis asked for this lookup, name, here's the order ID, gave a little input that she's got an old card here from 2018. So that saves me having to go look at Trello for a new card because the old card's right there. And more than likely, oh, look at that. She's even from Farmington. I know right where Willow Trail is. Sandy, get in the car and drive. No, I'm just kidding. It's 45 minutes for Sandy, but you know, Kathleen looked up the information. Here's that order ID number. Came in today at 3 o'clock Mountain Time. Everything that comes in on CRM is Mountain Time. So it's only 2:37 Pacific Time, but this person signed up at 3:14 Mountain Time. So signed up at 2:14 Pacific Time. 4:15 Central Time. But then we give you, you know, did they pay anything? Nope. Don't worry about all this extra stuff. Just look for the dollar amount is all you don't even really need to care about it, but it needs to go on the card in case they want a refund. There's information on it. And Kathleen said, okay, no floor, 24-hour wait. So now what Francis is doing, Francis is making a card. So those of you that are helping us make.
No, she's
What?
adding to the.
Oh, you're
card.
right. Yep, she's adding to the old card. You're right. Thank you.
You bet.
So she opened up. She's got the old card on Trello open, and she's adding all this new information to it. That if I went to, oh, I don't even have
I was
it.
gonna say you could even pull it up.
Let's see how fast Trello's working today.
But if a card does not exist, then a card is created in your 24-hour wait. That's where Stacy was going.
Yep. And where we'll talk, you know, we're not going to get all the training done today. This is where I don't like it because, okay, Tanya Hobbs Peterson. There she is. So here's the old card. Frances is right now editing it. See how her picture just popped up right here in the description? I mean, she's adding to it. All the old notes are here. So she actually saw who the old instructor was. It used to be Wayne Desert. He's no longer here. But we've got all the notes here to read, and we can be better informed. We don't have to tell the person calling in all this information. But now what? See, now this board is actually closed. And that means what Frances will need to do is she will move this to her 8 to 18 column. She probably has a board because she's a GSI, or is she a PSI? Anyhow, she's got her own board she'll move it to. Those of you here that are not GSI or PSI or MSI yet, you'll move them to one of our boards. We will have a column for you. And it's held there until the floor is assigned. It's on you to set a calendar notice that you need to do a 24-hour follow-up. We need to get back to the people tomorrow at this time. We got to get a hold of Tanya and let her know, what did we find in the CRM? Here's your specialist. And we've got actually, like Jackie said, we've got a script for all this. And there's Frances is even double checking. Should I put all the information on the old card? And Kathleen said yes. Trevor does it really nice. Please look if floor has been assigned yet. Okay, so Makita called in yesterday. He's been trying to check if there's a floor or not, if there's a setup specialist number since this morning again. And finally, there's been a floor assigned. Floor is the same thing as advanced team, as the same thing as a setup specialist, is the same thing as SS or AT. When you see those, when they say sent to SS, they didn't send it to me. They sent it to the setup specialist.
Floor is also an internal vocabulary. You really want to refer to them as setup specialist or advanced team.
Thank you. Correct.
Why do we use multiple names for it?
For fun.
Just to confuse everybody, or?
There's no
To
real
keep it
answer to that.
interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, Renee, have fun with the party bus.
It's
Hey,
kind of
one thing
like your URL, your PBS, your website. It's just
Your domain. Yeah.
Two different ways to say the same thing. Hey, one thing is I wanted to mention, don't trust the date on the Trello card. Set it on your Google Calendar, because sometimes we get the notifications from Trello and sometimes we don't.
Good point.
That's a great point. So how many of you even know about this little bell here on Trello? Anybody never use it? Anybody had no clue that when someone makes a comment on a card, or you've set a date on a card, it's your notifications. So here, finally, Alexis has paid for her computer. We can finally get her started. Oh, yeah, we'll address him. David Gross, he was treated rude and disrespected. Okay, well, that's going to get sent up to Rory. We put the notes, this is where notes are key on Trello. But getting, these notifications, now I know I've got, okay, he's working on that issue. I'm just looking to where I have, Rick had set a date for this card, that it was a pending flow, and now he's moved the card. I got notified because Rick had put me on the card. So get used to checking for that bell. Even without GOYA. Let me see here. Here's the GOYA guide and checklist that I'm reading off of. Take time on the call. It's not a race, guys. How would you like to be on that other end of the call? Hey, yeah, this is Stacy. What do you need? Would you kind of go, ooh? Versus, good morning, my name's Stacy. Thanks for calling support. What can I do for you today? They may be having a bad day, or they just got off the phone with the setup specialist. They're not happy, but you coming in with a calm voice reassures them they've made the right choice in calling us. Even if we still refund them. Now, we don't want to really do the refunds. We try to talk them out of it. Most of them want a refund because they don't know what they don't know. There are others that, yeah, this is not going to be for them, but they need to be that decision maker, not us. If it's a new student, no floor involved, no notes, 24 hours need to pass. Stay on, do a BRT on the people, get to know them. This is why we want you guys to be doing the V marketing and doing each of these steps, learning all this one single step, because we're prepping you for bigger things. So that as we grow, right now there's less than 60 of us on GOYA lines. We could easily get to where we need to be 100 of us on the GOYA lines, because of the volume of calls is going up. You do want to take as many calls as you can. The phone rings, you want to answer it. Don't sit there and stare at it. I don't want to answer. I don't want to answer. You want to answer. Okay. Sending out emails without a BRT and rushing to get the next call, not good, not cool. We need to slow it down. You need to get some BRT done. We do not tell them about the PBS until we are assured they are done with the setup specialist. Does that make sense to everybody? I'll just stop my share so I can see everybody's faces. I don't want to miss any questions because this is going to go a little bit.
I'll elaborate on that. The BRT here is more the basic BRT aspect of things, because you're going to do full BRT as they come back, correct?
Correct. Yeah, you don't need to spend 20 or 30 minutes when you're doing a BRT. You just find out, why do you want to work from home? What brought you to us today? Greg, what are some things you ask when you're trying to do a quick BRT?
Say something like, so you're looking for something to do from home. What did you have in mind? You just trying to add something to your income, or did you want to create a whole new career for yourself? And just kind of find out what they're currently doing. Most people open up, and unless they're really angry. And I was going to interject right there when you talked about the don't show them Keystone, unless they call in insisting on a refund, and that's the only way to save them.
Correct. Some people are insisting on a refund and they say, I get it. The specialist, you didn't like to hear what they have, but you're obviously still going to be looking for something to do, working from home. I've got another opportunity. It's actually what I do. Yes, I provide support here, but you're still going to be looking, and you're probably going to come back to us because you're going to find another one of our sites or one of our ads. So, hear me out. And then you can show them the Keystone.
The way Roy teaches it is, once they're done with what they had to share, why they're mad or whatnot, it's just, so what were you looking for when you got set up? And move into that, were you looking for full-time, part-time, supplemental? Just what were you looking for? Because they were looking for something. They were always looking for something, or they wouldn't be here. So if you can move, that helps you move into those basic BRTs and in that direction, away from.
I was talking about when they call in for step 2 before they've talked to the specialist or even been.
Yep, we haven't even gotten to that language yet. There's a lot of different code language, and I think we may have to do a definition sheet. It might help a lot of us. You might get a caller that calls in and says, yeah, I was just talking to this guy that called me. I signed up for something, and they told me to say that I'm ready for step 2. Awesome, welcome. I'm so glad you called in. Who am I speaking with? And I got my pen right in my hand, and I'm going to write down their name. I've already written down their phone number from the caller ID. And then you let them talk. And then you can do a bigger BRT and get them into the Keystone. But you also want to be finding their card on Trello. There's a lot of multitasking you need to be doing. You need to find them on Trello. If you can't find them on Trello, then while you're BRTing, you're listening to them, you're typing into the chat, look up please, or as Shane says, look-see.
Yeah.
I like seeing Shane's little look-sees. And I'm just going to scan through the previous chats to see. Yeah, look-see, please. Yeah, Joel now uses your phrase. That threw me this afternoon when I saw that.
That's funny.
And that means you can't find them in Trello. We're going to give you all the information so that when it comes up onto Skype, you can literally copy it from Skype and paste it into the card, make the card real pretty, like Rory wants. And it actually makes it easier for everybody to read. Having the date on a line, the order number, if it's on there on a line, their name on a line, phone number, email, city, state, they're at whatever. Having them on separate lines, it's real easy to train your eyes look than reading across in a paragraph form. It's actually hard for everybody, not just Shane. Because by the end of the day, my eyes are tired. I don't know about Jackie and Shane and Greg and Monique, because Monique's also on GOYA too. Now that you're here, yay. Sometimes you'll get them calling in saying, where someone else has already BRT'd them. Someone else may have sent them to the specialist and brought them back, and now the specialist is sending them back. Play nice with our friends here on GOYA. If someone else did the BRT, say, I'm going to put a message out to Kim Albers, Donna Meyer, whoever. You go to that Trello card and you start typing in their name, you choose their name and you put in a note. They came back for step 2. They're ready for you. Best time to call. Don't set up an appointment for them. Find out some best times to call and let whoever's going to take them to the Keystone manage it. I just happened to get, like today, I had gotten with Diane a message from Nell. There it is. She said, actually, I will share my screen when that card opens here.
And I'll jump in.
Go for it.
That was my whole day yesterday, was all those. So some days are like that. Another thing I'll do is, did Donna text or email you? Which we do when we're, so they have a phone number already. So I'll say, well, not only am I going to send a message, but go ahead and reach out to them and let them know as well. So then that Donna hears from both sides, or whoever the other instructor is.
Right. So I had to actually talk to this gal last Friday. Here's my BRT. She's working at a KOA in Lake Placid, New York, wrecked her car with a deer last week. She also wrecked her car in North Carolina last year from a deer. And she feels like this is a sign she needs to work from home and quit driving. She was a hoot. So I sent her to the specialist because she actually came in on our what's called a VIP line. And Jackie and Shane and I, because we're MSIs, have access to the VIP line that when someone calls, we're not guaranteed a call, but when someone calls the VIP line and we're on the schedule to be on GOYA, our phone line is turned on, we can get these calls. And majority of the time we get to take them right to PBS. With her, she says, I'm kind of confused. I was given 2 different numbers to call for the advanced team. Who do I call? I called you first. And I sent her to the specialist. And now today she came back. Now put in today's date. She added me so that I got the notification. She had a conversation with Ben Wallace. He sent her here to get started. She is so funny. I agree. She is off today, so call today if possible. If you could text your number to her, she would like that. She does not answer. She does not recognize the number. I did thanks Nell. I also did a little heart thing there. And then I let Rory know because now I've texted her. We set up a time to talk at noon my time today. And she just gushed about how amazing Ben was. I have never gotten anybody coming back to me on a specialist that they were really good. They were really nice. They were very friendly. I want Rory to know that. Yeah. I got her watching the Keystone. And then here's my email that I sent her. Here's one receipt. Here's the other receipt. Now I'm waiting on Matt to assign the PBS. But I also joined it.
Guys, just so you know, when you're working the older leads, let's say that Stacy hadn't assigned her a PBS or whatever. and she went to the specialist and she never responded back. These cards are moved into the general population. So the cards that you're working on the 101 boards or the older SD boards or all that stuff, it all starts kind of here.
It does.
They just go through. It's just age, the leads age. And that's why the different boards, you might see, 30 to 60 days or 65 to whatever, 90 days. Those are just aged leads. All these leads started either on GOYA or coming in as an SD. And so that's and what Rory was talking about, not to sidetrack you, but this might help y'all understand a little bit, especially when you're on the instructor calls and he's talking about more leads coming in, where we're going to start to get, as opposed to 600 a day, we could be getting 1,800 a day. That means that we need the instructors to step up to answer the GOYA lines, because the 60 that are on there aren't going to be able to handle it. And that's why we're trying to get y'all to the next level. So it kind of all goes in a circle. And I don't know if you all saw my training way back when, and it was almost like a wheel, and it all started with the lead gen. And then it went to the different areas of the sections. And that's what Stacy's really taking you through. GOYA is the front line of all of this. So it's just another step, another avenue for you to be able to build your business.
And it was actually easier for me to be on GOYA because than doing outbounds, because I was guaranteed that when the phone rang, they wanted to talk to somebody. They want to talk to somebody. Whereas all them, the 101 boards and the SD and they don't answer. Yeah.
Quite honestly, a lot of you called into the GOYA line to get started. That's how you got here.
Rick
So
did.
when you called in, one of us answered the phone.
Yep. That's how I got Rick. I'm trying to remember. Mark was an SD.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your names. Mike was a VIP. But yeah. And now the other thing with GOYA is we are also wine ambassador support. So please do not ever tell your students, just call into wine ambassador support. Because Stacy's going to come back at you going, why didn't you help your student? It's going to be said with love, gritted teeth love, but it'll be said with love. Do yourselves a favor, get used to that back office and walk your students to the back office. And that cuts down on those kind of phone calls for us. That's pretty cool. When your students call into the support line, like we've got a situation of a gentleman calling in right now that we MSIs have been actually trying to reach out to. We don't want them. We're not that kind of support. We're not there for training people how to do their PBS on that support line. Our support is literally guiding them into get to the specialist or come into the PBS. Then they get an instructor. That's their number one priority. We don't want them calling in to the support line. That's not where they're going to get any training. I got lectured on that quite a few times where I would have somebody's student call in. Well, I just need to know what to do with this, with passive voice. Oh, well, I can quick help you with that. Well, I got talked to by Rory. No, you don't. That's not what this support line is for. That was a few years ago, but I think that's all I really wanted to cover right now is just kind of expose you guys that, how I got my 6 leads, my 6 new PBSs last week. By the way, Shane got 5. Jackie got 1. Dawn had 3, but got recognized for 2. Mary had one, Mark had one, Rick had one. Chris is gonna postpone his for a little bit. We're gonna find him another one. I'm just haven't seen all that
That
activity.
lead did come off of Chris's pre-enrollment.
Right.
That
Right.
is huge, guys. That means he set someone up, just kind of like what you're doing in V marketing and putting them into the grapevine. Chris had set that person up 2 years, maybe even 3 years ago, because I think it was 2019, into a pre-enrollee, and that person just bought a PBS this week. That is huge. That's what Rory is talking about when he says how strong it is for the grapevine, or when you we don't have Valentis anymore, but the pre-enrollee stuff, they do come back, and that was tied to Chris. He was on the card. So
A lot of times those Valentis pre-enrollees were also a V marketing lead, the early V marketing leads.
correct. So that's the importance of you doing your V marketing and being consistent with that, because those people do come back. And so hats off to Chris, because that's how that happened. And yes, we will get him another one.
Yes, we are. We're gonna work hard. Well, Shane's gonna work hard. But I just want to know, those of you that are here right now, think on it. But we are looking for people who want to learn more about being on GOYA, so that when events happen, we know that 100% of us can't make it to the events. But like this weekend, there's just under 100 of us going to Napa. We do have some MSIs staying back. And, we know that there's others not going to Napa, but then at Dallas, almost all of us on GOYA are going to Dallas. And that's scaring Linda and the rest of us for coverage. Coverage meaning making sure the phone lines are answered from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, Eastern time, and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. So if you guys can, even if it scares you right now, because trust me, when Rory made me get onto GOYA, I was scared. I was nervous as all get out. He didn't care. He says, you'll get through it. You're used to talking on the phone. And he was right. Rory's always right, you guys. We'll just admit it now. But we would love the three of us MSIs would love to hear from you guys if you're wanting to make that commitment to 10 hours a week. You would not start out right away at 10 hours a week on GOYA. You have to get, after we do our training with you, you get trained by Linda to make sure you know and understand everything and get comfortable. And but the requirements are, you need to be selling PBSs and training students, doing your own flows. And I know that not everybody's at that point yet, but I wanted you to be aware of it right now, so you guys can start pushing yourselves outside that box and grow, so that instead of just doubling over the next 3 months, we've got 3 months left of this year. Instead of just doubling, maybe we triple our team size. How cool would that be? How cool would that be to get even a third of them that we sign up into the anchors? What does that mean for your paychecks, guys? They go up. More students that you are teaching, your paycheck's going to go up. Rick's paycheck went up today. He signed a student who turned 21 into wine. Happy birthday, Austin. So that's all I really, I wanted to just get into it a little bit, and then we can get more into the nitty gritty, more hands-on with a smaller group of those that want to. Does that sound fair? Okay. Any questions? Anybody need Tums because you're getting heartburn over this thought? All right, then I know I've gone over. We will end. Everybody unmute. Everybody unmute. Screen who's not unmuted. Well, Rick must be doing G-pop duties. All right, guys. Ending chant. Ready? Teams
that move
Move forward toward a common goal
Unstoppable.
are unstoppable. We are unstoppable.
Go team.
Yay. Thanks, Stacy. Great